Hey, there it is. There it is. Cocktail hour.
Hi, happy Wednesday.
Well, show it up to the camera. Like, what do we got going on here?
We got the Hoosier Heritage, the Indiana drink, I guess. I don't even know what it is. Like their signature drink, I guess is the way I should put it. So signature drink of Indiana. Oh, and DMac's getting it delivered.
Here we go. See, put your hand in the frame so you can see it being delivered.
Oh. And we love Kim. We love Kim so much.
There we go.
Cheers.
I got my little sprig, and I'm gonna do a little
lemon
like that. I'll throw that actually in there. And happy cocktail hour to you, Rachel.
Happy cocktail hour. We'll give it a whirl. The Broncos playing the Indianapolis Colts this week. That's why we obviously picked the Indiana signature cocktail. Is it good?
Oh, wow.
It actually is really good. And I don't like bourbon.
It's very sweet.
I have the full recipe up on my Twitter page if you're interested. This is actually really good.
Well, this is, so it is, well, I know that's a little bit hard to read, but a couple ounces of bourbon. What else we got in there, Rach?
Maple syrup, lemon juice, apple cider, and then you have like a lemon to garnish it off as well. So I went out searching for the Knob Creek bourbon. So we got that. We made it. It's really good, though, everybody. I would highly recommend.
Yeah, the concept with Cocktail Hour, which is Rachel's idea, which I fully endorse, is to think of a unique cocktail towards the Broncos' next opponent. So I read about this drink. It was actually a contest, like, some sort of Indiana State Fair or whatever. There was a contest, and this was the winner of the contest.
Fascinating. I mean, it's really good. My husband didn't think that I would finish it all, and he's going to be wrong. And I feel like I should have made a bet on this one because the
bourbon is I don't drink a lot of cocktails, honestly.
No, me either. And I'm really impressed. Like, it's really good. 10 out of 10 recommend, everybody. Highly recommend.
Oh my gosh. Well, you're putting it your stuff. I'll put it the description of my stuff as well.
Yep. And every week you can pay attention to my Twitter. I'm picking like which drinks we're doing. That way you guys can also tune in. If you ever decide to make one, please tag DMac and I. It would mean so much to us. But I am giving this a solid A, just I'm giving the Broncos a solid A to go and beat the Colts this week.
Oh, there we go, Rach. How is Dove Valley today? It's been a minute since anybody's been out there.
Dove Valley was interesting. So yeah, obviously coming off of the bye week, and there's a ton to get into with that. The locker room felt different. And I'm going to play a clip here from Mike McGlinchey here in a second.
All right.
It felt intense. Like, it felt like this is the push. We control our own destiny to make the playoffs. The push is now. And just tell me the energy you're feeling from Mike McGlinchey after we play this. Because I was like, let's go, Mike. Like, come on.
We've talked about it the last 2 weeks or so. That's something we have to get down. We have to stop shooting ourselves in the foot. Certainly that you have to play clean football this time of the year, and we can't take negative plays, especially the early one, early in the drive, 1st and 10, when it's 1st and 15, 1st and 20, the numbers go way down on being able to convert first downs. And so we know that, and we got to be better there.
Okay, so that clip was about penalties, and he was kind of fumbling over it. But some of the other clips, like, I was just like, you feel like you're ready to, like, run through a wall. Okay. Like, that was the entire conversation. You know when people are, like, so amped up that they're talking and they're, like, fumbling over words? Like, that was Mike McGlinchey. It felt like the entire interview. He just felt, like, so amped. And I was like, what is going on? And he was the first person we had talked to in the locker room. And I was like, all right, we are ready to go out of the bye week. Like, we are not holding off.
By the way, are you 3'5"? I mean, how tall is Mike McGlinchey? That ankle is kind of ridiculous. I mean, are you on your tiptoes on that, or what's happening there?
Listen. We got it. The angle may be funky, but my arm. You gotta be smart when you're in these scrums. Okay?
That's true.
Because you are usually like, I feel like I can't do it. You are usually hand all the way out, sticking a microphone. Right. And so I have my camera just here at a nice little 90-degree angle. So I'm not working the shoulder and the bi too much. It's just
good.
You got to stay prepared in there. Okay.
McGlinchey. So on the conference call with Sean Payton on Monday, like he was a little snippy.
Yeah.
Little short.
Mm-hmm.
He was bothered by the pass defense. He was bothered by the penalties.
Okay.
So I think Sean Payton was grinding on the. I mean, listen, you're always happy you win, but I can see how that was translating into like a, hey, we haven't done shit yet. You know, that sort of attitude for the rest of the season. I could see where that might be going on.
I can totally see that too. Sean Payton doesn't want to be embarrassed. Did you see let me get it correct. The NFL, somebody had put out this, and it says like if one play had changed a game and like the outcome of a game where the Broncos would rank, they would be 11-2. It was what if every one possession NFL game had the opposite result, and it was the Broncos would be 11-2 and then the number 1 seed. Like, that's so true.
That's interesting. Well, certainly the Kansas City game. I'm trying to think. The Baltimore game wasn't close whatsoever.
Nope.
You know, I write off the Seattle and the Pittsburgh games, Rach, because they were so early in the season. Everybody's trying to figure out everything. So I don't know. Maybe a play or two could have changed that.
Is it bad that I also write it all off?
No.
Pretty much. Like, even the Bucks game, I feel like I write off because it was just such a roller coaster at that time. We're trying to figure out who Bo Nix is going to be, what this offense is going to look like. I feel like it really didn't start until the Chiefs game. Even though they lost that game, it was like, okay, I feel like I finally understand the identity of this Denver Broncos team.
Yeah. I agree with you on that. And, you know, what's funny is I was reflecting back. They're 8-5 right now. This was the same record they were with Tim Tebow in 2011 when they lost 3 games in a row. So the last time,
here, right?
I think it's the last time they were 8-5. I think 13 years ago with Tebow, and the wheels fell off. So I think Sean Payton realizes. And listen, let's face it, Rach. The Bengals won. Miami won. You know, the Chiefs won. I mean, maybe that's good because you're closer to the Chargers. But, Rachel, you realize right now, if the playoffs were to start, they'd be playing the freaking Bills in Buffalo?
Brutal. That is a brutal game. You and I both, we did a show on Sunday despite the Broncos not playing. Yeah. And we both were like, that is way worse than going to Kansas City. Like, going to Buffalo is just, that would be such a bad, hard matchup for the Broncos.
All right, what else you got in the locker room? Talk to me. I'm so curious, like how things went today.
Okay, when the Broncos schedule first came out, were you also like myself and you said their bye week is win? That's terrible bye.
Crazy.
I feel like everybody in Broncos country had that exact same reaction of like, oh my gosh, it is so late. Well, Adam Troutman wanted to talk about the bye, and he said, actually, it's perfect.
It's perfect. If you're losing and you're not going to make it to the playoffs, but late bye weeks suck. But when you're in the hunt and you're in it right now, like it's very very good timing. Even though obviously having it in week 14 sucks, but it's better to have it now when you're in the playoff picture than when you're not.
What'd you do?
Yeah, like in hindsight, thank God, it's fine now. It's fine now. It's not getting here.
Yeah.
But they did have, a short week, a Thursday where they won their Sunday and Thursday games, which is great. Yeah. So they kind of had a bye week there. But it's tough. How ironic is it too that the Colts bye week was the same week? They both had this crazy late bye week.
Totally agree. And they both have so much riding on this game come Sunday. It's going to be so much fun. Yes. But here's the thing. I only wanted one wish for the Broncos coming out of the bye week. That's it. Yes. I needed one Christmas wish to come true.
Okay.
And that would be that Riley Moss would be out there at practice and ready to go. And unfortunately, he was not out there at practice today. No. Still dealing with an injury. So do you plan to go without him on Sunday?
I think so, unfortunately. And if he doesn't play on Sunday, I would think it's highly unlikely that he would be ready by Thursday on a short week too in Los Angeles against the Chargers. That being said, in hindsight being 2020, because they could have just put him on IR and brought somebody else up, but okay, whatever. If you do what you should do against the Colts, and listen, I don't want to lose to the Chargers. It'd be better to beat them. But you might be better if you're better prepared to win one of those last 3 games. Maybe Cincinnati on the road is your best chance. Maybe.
Ooh. Okay, so How do you feel? I mean, Broncos control their own destiny right now. Obviously, you win out, boom, things look good. You do have to drop one game. Which game are you okay with dropping?
I'm not the Colts. Not Sunday.
This is a massive game.
Yeah, this is, well,
Is this the biggest game for the Broncos since Super Bowl 50?
Yeah. No, but there's a caveat there because in 2016, playing the Chiefs in the second to last game of the season, had they won that game and won the next game, they would have made the playoffs in 2016. Okay. As it turned out, they were 9-7. So they actually finished over 500. That's the last time they finished over 500. So that game, Rachel, that was the game that eliminated them.
Yeah.
So I can't say this game is bigger than a game that they had to win to get to the playoffs. Even if they lose this game, I mean, it's hard, but there's still a path to the playoffs. That game literally eliminated them.
Yeah.
And that was the last chance they legitimately had to get to the playoffs. And in all honesty, go back to last year, and they had that game against the 3-13 or the 3-10 or whatever they were, Patriots, the terrible Patriots, even last year, and they were on a little bit of a heater, and they lost that game, and that got Russell Wilson benched, if you remember, and they had a shot to make the playoffs. That being said, it's a huge game, especially because percentages are, 91% they make the playoffs?
Yep.
If they win it, and something like 52% or whatever if they don't win it. I mean, it changes the odds dramatically. It's huge, though. It's huge.
Okay, true or false? If we played the Seahawks and Steelers now, we beat them.
I haven't really followed the Seahawks, so I couldn't tell you that. I would like to think we could beat the Steelers. I mean, if we finish 6th and they finish where they are right now, 3, the Steelers, that would be the first round matchup.
Be crazy.
I think that's the best story because of Russell Wilson and the whole thing. I don't know, though. I mean, they're both like playoff teams right now. The Seahawks and the Steelers are both playoff teams. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we beat them. I think we'd have a better chance to beat Justin Fields and the Steelers at home, but they're both good teams, Rach. They're both good teams. So I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah. The Seahawks are one of those teams that I had circled of like everybody's going to doubt them, but I do think there's going to be a lot of hype around them. And then when they beat the Broncos, I said, yeah, see, they're actually going to be pretty dang good. So it's definitely an interesting conversation to say, okay, if we went back with the team we know now, who they are, their identity, who would they win and who would they lose against? It's an interesting, like, what if.
Do you think they'd beat the Seahawks or the Steelers?
If they played the way they played against the Falcons, I would say yes. But I do think that there are storylines in the NFL. I know people don't like to see that, but there's got to be emotional decisions being made when you're going up against a former quarterback. I know no one would ever admit it, but there could be a little bit of that extra oomph of like, we want to make sure we're the best squad. So I'd be curious to see how that game goes. I do think that would by far be the best situation for the Broncos in the playoffs, though, of like that storyline would be insane. Steelers, Broncos, holy smokes.
Is that your favorite story? I mean, it'd be Broncos, Bills. I don't know if there's much of a story there, frankly.
No.
I have my own Buffalo bias from living there and wanting Josh Allen, but I don't think my own personal interest is a top story. Ending the Chiefs dynasty? Okay, you got a little sizzle there. I don't know if they're going to get there because the Chiefs have a 2-game lead on the Bills and they're looking at a bye week.
Plus,
and then, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. There is some kind of Mahomes magic going on with the Kansas City Chiefs this year.
It's so ridiculous.
I don't want to test that fate in the first round, especially. I'm like, I just don't want to. I'm sorry. It would be great, but.
Yeah, but it'd be so sweet to fuck that up, though, wouldn't it? It would be so sweet to actually mess with that.
But it is, I mean.
They're such a bad team. They cannot win all these games by these miracles, by doinks and block kicks. And, I mean, boy, do they have the refs in their back pocket. Oh, my God.
Not believe the game on Sunday night. I could not believe how that went in. I literally was like,
what? You got to be kidding me.
I hate them.
You got to be kidding me.
It's like so unfair. I'm like, where is that luck for anyone else?
All right, what else in the locker room? Give me some other good stuff.
Would you consider this Broncos team to be a quote-unquote young team?
Yes.
Okay. Now, does that – I feel like there's both sides, right? Where it can be a really bad thing where it's like, oh, you're a young team. Nobody's really experienced this. But it can also be you're young and hungry like
gosh, you know what? I got to think about that for a second. Let me think about that. Are they
guys
young...
like Mike McGlinchey?
Right, McGlinchey. Like the whole offensive line. The whole offensive line is older, I suppose, except for the center. Even the center position is a vet. Powers, Bowles, all vets. Miners is the captain. Yep. I guess he's year 3 is a vet. Nix obviously is a rookie. Write him off. But then you go with, I mean, McLaughlin's been around for a little bit. Javonte a little bit.
Did you know that Jaleel McLaughlin is the first guy in the building like almost every single day?
Oh, I heard that. I have heard that. Well, you know, good for him. I don't know. Defensively, Zach Allen, DJ Jones, these aren't young guys. John Franklin Myers, Brandon Jones, they're not young guys. Cody Barton, not a young guy. Pat Surtain. Is it a young team? I guess it's not a young team, really. Not really, Rach.
Maybe the wide receiver group you're considering to be a young team, but like otherwise, it's a little interesting.
I don't know. Mims is, I mean, okay. Second year. Franklin Young. But, well, you know what's weird? Even the young, the rookie players, like Devon Bailey is like 26. Bo Nix is 24 and change and lives in Castle Pines. I mean, like, yeah, they're rookies, but they're also not, doesn't look like Jonah Ellis is like young.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I wouldn't say it's a young team, but I don't know what to call it because it feels like a young team.
It feels like a young team because there's no playoff experience, which is essentially what Marvin Mims got to in the locker room today. Now take a listen.
I think now most of the teams have been in the race with us have been there, a couple of times, have the same core. With us, we're younger. We want to get there real bad, and we're just going to bring something new to the playoffs. We've never been there. A lot of the teams never been there, so we just got to keep firing on all cylinders, put our hair on fire, and then just, take it game by game.
Take it game by game. I actually hate that. I hate when guys are like,
it's ridiculous.
Game by game.
Okay,
right. Great.
Fine. Why are we even talking to you then? Game by game.
Game by game. We don't care about the playoffs. Game by game. I have to care about the Colts game in front of us. No, we care about the playoffs. Go out there and win it all.
Well, listen, I think you got to be a little careful, but maybe that's the right way. It's not like a young team, but it's an inexperienced playoff team. That's for sure. I mean,
100%.
That's another weird question. Like, who on the Broncos has actually been to the playoffs? I mean,
I literally was just about to ask that. I'm like, who?
Well, John Franklin Myers came from the Jets. No.
Yep.
Brandon Jones came from the Dolphins, maybe. They were in the playoffs last year, but didn't do anything. Surtain, no.
Nope.
None of the rookies, obviously. McGlinchey, yes, with the 49ers. McGlinchey, yes. He's been there. Gosh, man, is that it?
I'm literally like Googling because I'm like, is there one person we're missing?
Zach Allen was with Arizona. I don't know. Did they get to the playoffs with him? I don't know.
Obviously, Cortland Sutton's never made it.
No, it's weird, huh? Wow, that is Sean Payton. I mean, are we throwing him in there or not? I mean,
what year was last year he made it to the playoffs?
Well, he won the Super Bowl. He beat Peyton Manning and oh my God, Rach.
2009?
It's been a while.
I think
it's been a while. I'll give you that. Yeah, it's been a while.
So yeah, this team really doesn't have a lot of experience.
So it's not young, but it's playoff inexperience, so it feels young. I guess that's what it is.
But I'm here for the young and hungry. Like, I was kind of annoyed when Sean Payton had spoke about that and lived like, don't doubt a team. Because I was like, okay, are you just saying this to like somewhat motivate your team? But I do think there is something being said about like, all right, a team is young and hungry. They feel that way. Nick Bonito, and people are passing over the Broncos left and right. Nick Bonito should be in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. I haven't heard his name in the national media whatsoever around that conversation.
I mean, he's second in the league in sacks. How are they not?
And
talking
only
about
second
him?
in the league probably because they had a bye, so he couldn't get any last week.
Right. He'll be there. It'll spark up. I mean, the Broncos are definitely being mentioned more. That's for sure. Oh, I'm surprised by this. I'm surprised by that.
Yeah.
And I remember in training camp watching these guys. I'm like, man, they look pretty good. Or are we just having Dove Valley bias? Are they really good, or is this just our orange and blue glasses that we have on? Yeah.
Fair. Okay. Now you even tweeted this out because I'm a Bo Nix fan. I said weeks that he was going to be the franchise quarterback. Also, these drinks are really good. I'm not going to.
They're so good. I'm definitely having a second and going to bed early. I mean,
people literally, my husband Anthony literally texted me. He goes, "I might have to pour a second." And I was like,
"Dude, it is so freaking good." I'm definitely going to eat the apple too. That's soaked in bourbon.
Oh, we love Kim. Look at her with the garnish.
You don't have the sprig.
I didn't. No, I didn't go buy.
You didn't get the sprig?
I didn't. I just am a lemon gal.
I got the sprig.
Yeah, he's smart. Anyways, you guys, I'm dead serious. You have to try this. This is so freaking good. Back to Bo Nix though, because who doesn't love talking about the Broncos quarterback? I love the fact that he was talking about his bye week, and we'll play the clip here in just a second. And you guys, he was sad that he was on the couch not playing in championship games. Like,
yeah.
We love a competitor. Take a listen to this because it's just, I feel
By the way, before you play it, because I know the clip a little bit, you should talk about the rumor about Izzy Smoke being pregnant.
Oh my gosh, I was so annoyed. He was clearly like unbelievable. So yeah, in case you did not see it, there was a post that went out on a Facebook page saying that Bo Nix and Izzy Nix were pregnant. With twins, I want to say.
Yeah.
The exact same page also posted that Cortland Sutton and his wife were expecting triplets on like the same day. So be careful what you read, everybody. But Izzy Nix actually had posted on her Instagram story and said, before another congratulations text, this is not true. Yeah. And Bo Nix did, in fact, address that today when he was asked about it. Take a listen. But yeah, don't believe everything you hear on the internet.
After the Browns game, this is your first ever NFL bye. So how do you handle it? Were you able to get away from football? Did you make that intentional? Is it a little less relaxing with pregnancy rumors online?
Yeah, that's, I guess in today's day and age, you can say anything you want to get away with it. But I was able to go home and hang out with the family and, watch my dad coach in the state championship. And, it's just fun being around them, kind of going back to where, it all started, where you came from and appreciating it and hanging out with friends and family and getting away from some football. I got to watch my two brothers win conference championships this week, so that was pretty neat. You don't get to see that all the time. They actually, won it within about 10 seconds of each other, so that was pretty cool. But, I'm sitting at home kind of jealous. They're out there winning championships, and I was at home sitting on the couch. But I thought that was really unique, really cool. So I'm just blessed right now and excited to be back, getting going.
Gosh. Two things, though, with that clip. One, the construction that's going down there. I know it's going to be so cool and worth it, but man, was the buzzer driving me crazy.
Oh my God.
Two, I don't think his dad won the championship, which is a huge bummer because he just said coach in the championship. So I was like, that's big. But also, what a family full of football. His two brothers and then his dad, and then obviously Bo, all involved in football. I'm like, that family is crazy.
Well, it's Robo-Bo. It's the Bobot. It's a family that doesn't do anything but eat, sleep, dream football. And you can see why somebody like that is appealing to Sean Payton, somebody who, and I saw Kenny Dillingham, who's the Arizona State coach, who was his freshman coach at Auburn, and say that Bo would challenge you. And you can get it, because what if every night at the dinner table, you only talked about one thing? And why we're doing it and how we're doing it. The son of a coach, a guy who could coach himself, a guy who just knows football inside and out.
Yep.
That's Bo Nix. And that's why, in my opinion, he fits Sean Payton so much better than Russell Wilson, who was just used to being an athlete and running around doing, whatever. And maybe that works. Obviously it does better for Mike Tomlin than a guy who's as precise as Sean Payton. Maybe
totally agree. It's all about fit in the NFL. I feel like I preach that weekly. The other thing that I thought was interesting is Bo got asked about, like, it's not like this for every single rookie, like quarterback, like being around two guys that are very open and welcome in Jarrett Stidham and Zach Wilson. And like, that's not the normal also. Sometimes you're not liked, sometimes you're not helpful. And so they talked a little bit about the locker room, and he, said how like lucky he is that those two guys have experience and they're helping him go through all of it. But he also said he's very mindful essentially when he talks. Like, he's not just getting up there to talk. Like, when he says something, he wants it to be really meaningful. And I feel like that just shows the level of maturity when it comes to Bo Nix as well. Like, he could get up there and be like, I'm this rookie QB, I'm this hot stud type guy, like I'm winning games, all this kind of jazz. And he could just sit up there and talk and people would listen. But he's very like mindful of what he wants to say, because when he says it, he wants it to be important. And I think that's pretty cool for Bo Nix.
Rachel, before we get out of here, I have another football-y sort of question for you that is like, huh? And it surrounds Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's home got broken into. And there was a social media influencer named Olivia Ponton.
Yep.
Who is an employee. However, Joe Burrow's engaged to another Olivia Holzmacher. Rachel, help me understand exactly what Olivia Ponton would be doing as an employee for Joe Burrow, or did Joe Burrow get caught cheating on his fiancée?
I have no idea. Have you heard the 911 call?
I have not heard the 911 call.
It is, I'm very confused about this. And also I want to touch base on one other police thing going on in the world right now that seems to be capturing the world by storm. But I listened to the 911 call, and she said, like, somebody is breaking into my house, but the cops and the security team for where Joe Burrow lives essentially keep saying, like, yeah, their security team is like on the premise. And then the cops are like, yeah, we're there, because her mom also called in and was like, my daughter's in the house. And I'm really confused, because it seems like there was always security or police there. And I'm like, did you think that someone else was breaking it? Like, I'm confused by the whole thing. But to answer your original question, I have seen rumors that she is the stylist of Joe Burrow. Don't know if that's true.
So she's the one responsible for dressing him like a movie carpet from like the 90s.
Pretty much.
Okay.
I have not seen anything from the fiance. I don't know if she was at the game and was traveling back. I don't know. But there's a lot of different spectacles going on and rumors going on that I don't think we'll ever get the full answer to. But it is something.
It's two Olivias.
Yeah.
People
are questioning a lot of things when it comes to Joe Burrow at this moment. But I'm like, ooh, have another cocktail.
Yeah, hey, cheers to you and your two Olivias. I'll tell you this. The more drama, the better. As the Broncos play the bank, hey, drama it up, Joe.
Sign us up.
Drama.
We need you to tank a little bit, our friend. Although, man, their season has to be frustrating as heck.
Well, they did win. I mean, they beat the Cowboys because the Cowboys dude was the stupidest dude ever.
Did you see that the Panthers are the favorites against the Cowboys and this is the first time they're going to be favorites in like 2.5 years?
Couldn't believe it.
I know.
Could not believe it. Unbelievable.
All
right, give me your final thoughts from Dove Valley today before we wrap things up here tonight.
The locker room felt different. There was an intensity about it, which makes me really excited for the game on Sunday. I think it's going to be a dogfight. I think it's going to be a really close game, which I'm excited about. I love the confidence from Bo Nix. Also, Patrick Surtain did say, in fact, that he didn't do much over his bye week. And I'm like, well, that's a lie. You went to New York City over your bye week. So Cotton one, maybe don't repost something to your story there, PS2. Sides point. Cortland Sutton also went to New York City. What a great time to go to New York City. Christmas. Love it.
Beautiful. Were they skating in Rockefeller Center? What were they doing in New York City?
I don't know what they were doing, but I also know that Mike McGlinchey went to Aspen with Jarrett Stidham.
They are tight, aren't they? Their wives must be best friends. They gotta be best friends.
I agree. So that was cool. Marvin Mims told us that he went to Vail and he went tubing one of the days.
Awesome.
He's not a snow guy, he said, obviously from Texas. He was like, not a big snow guy. He's like, I don't know if I would go back, but they went tubing, just kind of hung out. And I was like, good for you, Marvin Mims. Also, really random. Marvin hoards water bottles. And I asked him about it today because he had like 7 smart waters just sitting in his locker. And I was like, Marvin, what are we doing here? And he said, I actually use it because of sunflower seeds. And he's like, so I keep all of these bottles so I can always take some. And I was like, interesting enough. And he goes, if my mom saw this, she would be pissed at me. And I said, all right, at least you're familiar with what your mom would think.
We want to thank, boy, this is aching for some sort of sponsor. I'm not going to lie.
You guys, they're so good. Highly recommend.
What are they called again? Who's your...
have the wrong one.
Who's your daddy? No,
who's your heritage? Who's your daddy? Who's your heritage? I have the recipe up on my social media. If you would like to try it, please let us know if you do. It is really good. The knob bourbon I thought was fantastic. So Tipsies, give us a call. I feel like we can do a lot of good things.
Listen, seriously, how could you not sponsor this? Next week, it'll be fun next week because we'll be on Wednesday with the Chargers. So we'll go. Now you can go a couple different directions here for the cocktail next week, Rach.
Okay.
You could go LA, all right, but it'd be all right as far as I'm concerned if you went a little San Diego, if you wanted to go sort of, or even right on the border, Tijuana, something like that. I think that, little and LA. I don't know. We could go the heritage of the cocktail. So we look forward to that. We'll be back on Sunday. When are we going to do it on Sunday? What are we going to late? You want to go late again? You want to go early? What do you want to do on Sunday?
Post game, 7:00, everybody.
Something like that.
Time.
Okay, that'd be awesome. We just got to get back from the stadium. So, and I'm going to be able to stay at this. I'm going to be able to stay at this game. So we'll be able to do that.
Sounds good. To everybody, we appreciate you. See you all later. Happy Wednesday. Bye.